Hello and welcome to Movie Pain or Pleasure Podcast, the show where we watch movies, talk about movies, complain about movies, and we determine if they're a cringy hate watch or a delightful guilty pleasure. I'm Melanie Gibson and I'm joined by my co-host, AJ Wall. Hi, AJ.
Hi.
So what movie are we talking about today?
Cruella.
Yeah, we are talking about Cruella. So it was released by Disney in 2021. It was directed by Craig Gillespie, and it stars Emma Stone and Emma Thompson and a bunch of CGI dogs. So, AJ, why don't you give us a short synopsis of the movie, and then we'll get into it and talk about what we liked and what we didn't like. Before we do that, I want to make something clear. We're not film experts. We haven't studied film. We're not critics or anything like that. We're
assholes.
Yeah, we're just assholes. We're just assholes who love to watch movies. We spend a lot of our weekends watching movies, and we figure we might as well talk to other people about it. Sometimes it takes us hours, even days, to watch a movie because we'll hit pause and talk and go down all these rabbit holes. So we are here to take you down the rabbit hole with us. So, AJ?
That sounds terrifying.
It is terrifying.
You left somebody out of the main stars.
Who did I leave out?
Stingray.
Okay.
Cobra
Yeah,
Kai.
Stingray from Cobra Kai is in this. That's why you guys should watch it.
With a hard to tell if it's bad British accent.
It's very like, oh, I have not, that type of accent. So
or maybe he is British.
Maybe he is, and that's how he talks. It's like when we try to do really redneck Texas accents and they sound bad.
If you want to know who else is in it, IMDb that shit. I don't know who else. But yeah, Stingray. That's awesome.
Yeah, Stingray's in it. Okay, so just give a short synopsis.
Let's see, our synopsis. This is about Cruella and her childhood. Very shortly her childhood, and then her young adulthood of learning how to be evil.
Like Dr. Evil.
From her also evil boss / other things we will get into later. And yeah. Also, this is just a collection of 60s songs. The whole movie.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that. So
that's like half of what the movie is.
Yeah, and I had really high hopes for this movie when I got into it. They were playing it up as like, yeah, it's going to be badass and dark, and it's a villain origin story, and I love a good villain. All the best characters from the Disney movies are villains. And the fashion was going to be fantastic. I love fashion, even though I've worn stretch pants and slippers for all of this pandemic. I really love fashion. So it was okay. I'm going to contradict what we said in our trailer and say this is not a bad movie. But did it live up to all of that hype?
I thought we were getting like a weird Tim Burton's version of Devil Wears Prada.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what it ended up looking like. But yeah, so let's get into it. So it starts out in the mid-1960s, which is already kind of going off of what the original was. The original animated one takes place in the early 1960s, so the timeline is...
Yeah, the timeline.
Yeah, timeline's already thrown off, so they're doing like an X-Men thing and just throwing off all the timelines. So Cruella is a little girl in probably the mid-1960s, maybe 1964. She lives with her mother. She's a single parent, doesn't have any other siblings, and they show it as they're kind of living hand to mouth. Her mom gets jobs wherever she can. Cruella, who is Estella at this point, gets in trouble at school. She has the stripy thing in her hair, but they never really explain that. Her mom just shoves a hat on her head, and
she also is randomly classmates with at least one person from the Purdy, or what was her name? From the original.
Anita.
Yeah,
Anita shows up very, very briefly. And they don't do anything with her, and that's the theme through the rest of the movie. They had an opportunity to do a lot with Anita, and they don't. So if you want a lot of character development with Anita, I'd say watch the live-action one with Glenn Close, because you're going to get a lot more with Jolie Richardson than with the poor actress they got for this and gave her nothing to do as a child or as an adult. So yeah, there's Anita. So do we want to talk about the big turning point in her childhood?
Okay, so trying to make sure I remember everything right. So we go from her being in school, and then let's see, she whips all the kids' asses, and then right when she's getting in trouble for that, her mom decides to move them out of town because they must run away from her terrible child's behavior. And then they go to Emma Thompson's home, right?
They go to a big mansion and
to the gala.
Yeah, to a big fashion gala. And before they kind of hinted at Estella's interest in fashion, but not as much as you think you would get with the character Cruella. Like, she might change a button on her school uniform or a sash or something, but I didn't really get a whole lot that she was this kind of fashion prodigy.
No. And so, well, I'm trying to think of it. I was about to say nothing important really happened at the gala. That's not true at all.
That's not true at all.
This is the turning point. This is where first we find out that Dalmatians are murderers.
Yeah, CGI Dalmatians.
Moral of the story: Dalmatians are murderers. They're terrible little bastards. So let's see. Estella is supposed to wait in the car for her mother, and because she's a little bastard child, she
I mean, literally she is, but not really. Well, actually, not really. No.
She isn't.
She's not. Okay.
Oh, as we will get into, and she comes in. Oh, point for the movie: they didn't do the destroying the cake thing.
Yeah. So at this fashion gala, for some reason the theme is powdered wigs. It's like they got all the extra costumes from Amadeus, and they did kind of French court looking costumes and big powder wigs, and they have all these big beautiful cakes. And what you would think when you see this is, oh no, there's going to be a slapstick thing, and it gets knocked over and the cakes get smashed, but no cakes were harmed. Good for them for not following that trope.
Yeah, especially they were setting it up with her running around following her puppy through the party.
Yeah, it's a cute little puppy. It doesn't get skinned. It's a cute puppy.
No. So, but she does follow her puppy outside as she's running away from the murder dogs that, again, are Dalmatians. So, this is why she hates Dalmatians, except not really, because we'll find out later. They follow her outside, and they seem to totally forget about her and decide to, by the will of Emma Thompson, run at and flying snap kick her mother off a cliff.
Yeah, it happens so fast too, because her mother is kind of cornered on this overhang cliff thing on the grounds of the mansion, and she's talking to, we find out later, Emma Thompson's character, and these dogs just fly at her, and you would think, now I got a C in high school physics, so don't take my word as gospel, but you would think a dog flying at that velocity and that angle, that dog would go flying and yelping over with her, but no, just kind of like Bruce Lee pops up and knocks her over and just lands right on the ground.
Because it doesn't even do what a real fucking dog would. It doesn't jump and like attack her. It flat out jumps, pulls its foot in, and snap kicks that bitch.
That dog chambered
straight off the fucking cliff.
It chambered its kick. It chambered its kick.
It was kind of awesome, but also this was this might have been our biggest pause for the whole movie. I think that was my one moment where I was like, immediately paused, like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was just like, what the hell just happened? It happened so fast. Boom, she's off the cliff, and the dogs popped her off there.
So before they were flying Japanese murder hornets, there were flying snap kick murdering Dalmatians. And so that looks like, okay, there. In the first 15 minutes, they've given us Estella Cruella's reason for wanting to murder and skin Dalmatians. Fine, okay, cool. Movie, done. Everything else is icing. Until they screwed it up later on. So we stuck on this long enough. So then she ran away to London, and at the age of 10 to 12, somewhere in there, she gets to London. She meets Horace and
Jasper.
I never remember Jasper. Horace and Jasper, from the first movie. And they grow up 10 years without ever showing it. And there it is. That's her whole childhood.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Fagin situation without Fagin, where they're just street urchins, basically, who get really good at grifting and
scrap for money
and pickpocketing, and they kind of have this amazing apartment that shouldn't really exist.
It's
so
a Disney
it's
movie.
a Disney
They
whatever.
have to have
yeah.
a shitty underground layer that's not underground and looks amazing.
Yeah,
and somehow has electricity with no bill.
And so what Estella, who at this point looks like Emma Thompson, basically, she's got red hair. They very quickly show, like, her mother said, "Oh, don't be Cruella," and that was just a very quick way of saying that's how she got that nickname, and then it doesn't show up until later. So anyway, but Estella loves making costumes for their grifts, and so they're starting to show, okay, she's got this knack for fashion, she's got this love of fashion, and so her buddies, through some paperwork trickery, get her a job at this really fancy store. I think it's supposed to be kind of like Harrods of London. And this is where we see what's supposed to be 1970s London. And it looks like the London from Tim Burton's Sweeney Todd. It's very black and gray. And then the music. So I just have to pick at the music for a minute. They open with Time of the Season by the Zombies, which is from 1968. And so I feel like that's just pandering to the audience, because it's like, hey, do you like the 60s? Yeah, we're going to play the song that they play in every movie that takes place in the 60s. We're going to play, I mean, I love the Zombies.
It's not even the 60s
It's
anymore.
not even the 60s, yeah.
I literally had to pause it and explain to Melanie, they're playing all the 60s stuff because that's what she grew up on. Not because that's what she's in now.
I mean, if they did a movie about my life, they'd play the music from the 60s too, because my boomer parents raised me on that stuff.
It didn't really, well, not like music matters to Cruella, the character, but that didn't have any connection in her actual childhood, so it was a little
No, I think
random.
it was really just they wanted to set the mood, and I think you're just giving me swinging 60s London, which I'll watch an Austin Powers movie if I want to see the swinging 60s. So yeah.
Then then your big nitpick with the music.
Oh, I'll get into that.
Yeah, this is Emma Thompson's big moment. I mean, there's a little bit of Cruella doing her job thing, but who gives a shit?
Yeah.
She's a peon. She doesn't matter.
She's scrubbing the toilets and stuff, and then so one night she gets angry and gets drunk and redoes the window dressing, the decoration in the front window of the store, and it's this fabulous design. And this is when we meet Emma Thompson's character. So everybody's running around. Basically, it's like when Miranda Priestley comes into the office, because this is basically The Devil Wears Prada. So everybody freaks out because the big boss is coming in. So this is the Baroness. She's the fashion designer. She's the owner of the fashion house. And I guess she's also maybe really a Baroness. I don't know how nobility works in England. So anyway, yeah, they're all afraid. And Estella's kind of excited because the Baroness is her hero. She'd always dreamed of working in this store. And so this is when the big scary bitch enters. And here's my this is what bothers me with the music so much. They play 5 to 1 by The Doors, which was also a song from 1968. It's a badass song. Starts out with this drum beat, sexy guitar and organ, and Jim Morrison's just growling. Oh, it's a good entrance song. Not for this character. It's just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work with this character.
Especially because we don't know her yet. Like, we don't know anything about her. We're just supposed to, she's the head of a whatever. She's obviously going to be a bitch.
I was listening to Strange Brew by Cream the other day, and I thought, that'd be like a good entrance song for kind of a bitchy, witchy, creepy female villain. And then I looked it up, and like, that song's from 1967. So, do I have a good recommendation for what Emma Thompson's entrance song could be? No, not off the top of my head. But could you get it? Could you get something from the 70s? The fashion was terrible in the 70s, but the music was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, but 5 to 1 by The Doors does not work. That felt to me like music in Suicide Squad, not The Suicide Squad, but Suicide Squad, where they just played cool songs to pander, to
movie
the
trailer
audience.
songs.
Yeah, movie trailer songs.
Just movie trailers.
Yeah, just like, hey, do you like this song? Yeah, then you'll probably like this movie. Maybe. I don't know. So Emma Thompson enters to a song that is cool otherwise, but doesn't work. And of course she doesn't notice Estella, so Estella tries to get her attention, and eventually she does.
Let's see. murder me because it's not off the top of my head. I remember that Estella gets pissed off that she's being treated by the asshole manager of the store, and that's when she trashes the place. But she made that's when Emma Thompson comes in. She had set up a new display, and she totally screwed up how she could have messed with this guy. I can't even remember what she did. She did like little things to like screw with this manager of hers who was an asshole. What she should have done.
Oh, she should have stolen.
Is stolen all the toilet seats from the entire building.
Yeah, just like things
because she was in the janitorial staff. She should have taken not the lids, just the seats, and just wait to hear the splash. That's the first thing she should have done.
No one's taking a comfortable crap again.
Stolen all of like, I don't know, all of the keys that go to everything because she's like master thief. Like lock everything, steal all the keys. Just like the minimalist, most annoying type of shit that you could think of. Not big like noticeable things, just tiny things everywhere. I don't know. This is really petty and it would take forever. But take all the ink out of every single pen. I don't know, any stupid, annoying thing you can think of. That's what she should have done.
Yeah.
But she didn't. She changed the display. Which, I mean,
yeah, she wanted to get her attention, and she got a job as a designer. But then things turned pretty quickly. So she basically becomes Anne Hathaway from The Devil Wears Prada. She becomes her assistant, and also trying to be a designer. And she notices that Emma Thompson's character, the Baroness, is wearing a necklace that her mother used to wear. So she's starting to wonder, is this the person who might have murdered my mother? Does she have something to do with her mother's death? And so I think it's revealed pretty quickly that her mother was employed by the Baroness at one point. That's all we know for now. And then I start wondering, okay, is this like a Palpatine thing where she's actually her granddaughter?
Yeah, the whole time that's what we thought was grandmother.
The whole time we thought that Estella's mother was the Baroness's daughter, therefore Estella would be her granddaughter. There's a twist to that, we'll get to that later. So she makes it her mission to get intel on the Baroness, and then she wants to start to compete with her. So and then we get to the big reveal. So there's a big party that the Baroness has, and she instructs people to dress in a certain way, and I think to wear all black and white so no one upstages her. And our hero, Estella, shows up in a hooded white gown, and I hear the saddest noise you could ever hear in movie history. It's not the sound of a dog crying or a baby crying or anything like that. It's the sound of champagne glasses falling.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys, they had this whole big tower of champagne glasses, and she knocks them over.
Oh, no.
So she can...
So she could grab the bottom one.
So she could grab the bottom, but also she needed fuel so she could set her robe on fire.
Yeah, she did Hunger Games. That's what she did. It was cool when Hunger Games did it. Now I'm questioning how in the 60s you had a flame retardant dress underneath another hoodie dress thing.
And it didn't singe her hair or anything.
Which is now back to original Cruella, which I don't know if... Oh, she was wearing wigs the entire time. I was going to say, if she was dyeing her hair, this makes no sense. Because there's no way she would have to fake dye her hair to get it to look like her original hair.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess she was wearing a wig, and this is the reveal. She's finally Cruella again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a Disney movie, so nobody notices that it's the exact same girl. She also just flat out copies Emma Thompson's accent altogether.
Yes.
Like her persona.
Mm-hmm. It's very... Queen's British, yes. It's very... They sound like Dr. Frankenfurter without being the sexiness of Tim Curry. It's very, very droll and very upper-class British. This is how we sound, yeah.
But this isn't where... This is only like halfway through the movie, so this is just her signature conflict with Emma Thompson, the Baroness. I should probably start calling her by her character name. And then I'm trying to remember exactly what happens, because I know she does her thing. the Dalmatians are there. She doesn't do anything to them. There's, I think, something with her friends trying to break into her vault that doesn't work out. That they get out of.
That doesn't work out, but she has her Kill Bill moment because she sees the Baroness use the dog whistle, and it's just that moment where yeah, she realizes that, okay, and this is really messed up. Her mother had gone to the Baroness, I guess, to ask for money or something to get some help, and the Baroness blows her dog whistle. The Dalmatians run basically from the inside of the house, and they flying snap kick her mother over the cliff. They don't just bite her ankles, so she flat out has her mom killed by her dog. So now, Cruella, the new persona, is just out to get the Baroness.
How long did that take to train those dogs?
To kill like that?
Yeah, like that, because, okay, well, later in the movie, she tries it again. So this is like a thing she does. And I think she even once mentioned, like, I've murdered plenty of times. Like, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, she just flat out murders.
So she just has this style of... this. Actually, it's kind of an amazing style of killing. Somebody from, like, a James Bond movie, or, I don't know, Mission Impossible, a villain from that should totally steal this. Like, I trained dogs to flying snap kick people off of buildings and shit. Anyway, but they get out of their jam that they were kind of in on because they were stupid. Her dog doesn't die. She still has her dog. The dog is not the same type of dog the puppy was, though.
Yeah,
which is
it's
really
a totally
weird.
different dog. Doesn't make sense.
The entire time.
We're talking about Estella's dog, right?
The entire time.
Cruella's dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cruella loves dogs in this one.
The entire time Melanie was like, that's not the same dog. What is that dog? What's the dog's name? I was like, it's the same as the original dog. Like, that's not the same dog.
It wasn't the same dog.
It's this, but it's supposed to be the same dog.
I know Wink was the same. Wink was awesome. Wink was...
Wink is the best dog ever.
He's a little chihuahua with a patch, and... Horace, who we'll just call Stingray because it's the guy who plays Stingray in Cobra Kai. Stingray's dog, and he helps him on his little capers, and so he's very cute, little chihuahua with a patch. That's why they call him Wink. And he's the best dog in the whole movie.
Yes.
Unlike the CGI-looking Dalmatians.
Which, if you notice, we've gone through halfway through the movie. These people have had these dogs since they were like 10 years old. 10 to 12. So, like, these dogs are... One, they should probably both be dead, just by age.
Yeah.
But these are dog lovers. The Cruella, who decides to murder puppies and Dalmatians of all kinds, I guess.
Yeah, keep that in mind. She loves her dog.
Her dog is her best friend until she turns into Cruella, and she's a bitch. But she still loves her dog, and Wink is awesome, so there's no way Stingray loves his dog. Yeah, There's no way he would murder somebody else's dog.
So let's talk
I refuse to believe that.
So her so we get into her transfer. She transforms into Cruella, and so she makes it her mission to upstage the Baroness whenever she appears at some kind of event.
That part I actually enjoyed. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, Cruella would show up and kind of fashion bomb the like she'd show up on a dump truck and have a yards long dress. All this it was very punk rock. I liked it. It was really cool.
It didn't logistically make a lot of sense because they're here for so long. Where are the cops? Where is anyone?
I know.
She does it like 4 or 5 times. Like Emma Thompson doesn't tell the police like, hey, maybe you should be around just so you don't, let the perpetrator run away after blocking intersections and shit. So this is where Cruella is totally Cruella all the time. And she's totally being Cruella, as in the character that's a bitch to everybody, and she speaks like this and whatever.
Oh, darling, yes.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, but can we talk about... I like what Disney did with the realism of the way she talked to Horace and Jasper, because, in the movie, she's, oh, you bubbly idiots. She talks to them the way Skeletor talks to his henchmen.
Yeah.
And, oh, you fools, you idiots. And Jasper a couple of times calls her out on it and says, "Hey, what? You can't talk to us like that. We're people."
Okay, now here.
I liked that.
This is where I have a note from a different part of the movie. I'll get my glasses. That look stupid. There's a conversation where I do this. Lunch should have happened earlier. That is my note.
What does that mean?
Because there's
lunch should always happen.
She has a lunch with the Baroness because they're getting away, and the Baroness is like, "Oh, this Cruella, she's amazing, but I must crush her." Saying this to Estella, who's still incognito at her job, but she's not doing a great job there anymore. And there's a line, I don't know exactly what it is, but it's basically her whole spiel about you don't count on anybody to survive and do well. And this is like, kind of should be the catalyst for why Cruella is now like, okay, I want her place in the world, so I gotta do what she did. I'm gonna be a total bitch. Nobody matters. This is my shit. If that had happened first, and then she turned into Cruella, and at least in as far as the way she treats Horace and Jasper, then I would get it. But as soon as she goes Cruella, she immediately does that to them.
Yeah, she just like like she's in character and talks to them, calls them bumbling fools and things.
But there's no.
I do like that they call that out, because when you see in a cartoon, it's one thing. But when you see real human beings do this, especially people they've had a long-term relationship with, it's really awkward.
So Jasper makes sense. He calls her out, but she still doesn't make sense because there's no lead up to that.
No, it just
at
happens
first.
overnight.
Then they have the lunch conversation, which makes sense to set that up. So I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
It just, I don't understand why they couldn't have well, they couldn't just swap them, but they'd have to rewrite a little bit.
Yeah.
But just, change places. Tell her, this is how I got to be where I am.
Yeah, and so anyway, Cruella is making it her mission to bring down the Baroness and upstage her. She's not really trying to start a clothing line or anything at some point. She does kidnap the Dalmatians.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because during the party, the second party, the one where she becomes Cruella, one of them ate her locket. That's what a part of them running away from.
Yes.
Her dog takes her locket and running away, and one of the dog eats it. One of the Dalmatians. And I don't remember if they ever got that thing back.
I think
because
it did, and I'll remind you.
Well, it took forever.
I'll remind you. Yeah, it did.
The intestinal tract of those dogs is totally screwed up. So that happens. But so this is finally leading up to her last big
Oh, and can we talk
staging
about
her out.
the planning on that? I hate this. I hate when movies do this, because she said, okay, this is how we're gonna get her. This weekend, she's going to have the annual giant black and white ball, and I think they always do this in movies where this is the moment I'm gonna get the person I love, or I'm gonna get revenge on somebody, and it's just this event just happens to be going on in the next couple of days,
and also
or this weekend.
She was like, I need the name and the dress size or whatever of everyone that's going.
Yeah.
And Jasper, for a reason I don't understand, these people never went to school. That is just like, that's nothing.
Yeah, but
I
they're
can
thieves.
do that.
They could probably steal your identity in 2 seconds.
First they have to know who all these people are. Then they have to track down their size and measurements, which I don't think you have lit.
Yeah.
It's not in any of these drawers, So it's a little over the top. But fine, it's a Disney movie. But
this happens in a lot of movies. I wish it could be something like, man, I can't wait to get revenge on John Smith. I'm going to get him at his annual Christmas party, and it's like March.
And now
when you say that,
that I remember, we skipped one moment. This is after they think that Cruella is dead, right? Because they somehow track down the Dalmatians that they stole.
Oh yeah, this is a big thing.
And the Dalmatians have been living in their crummy apartment that's actually awesome, and somehow that has electricity.
And has running water. Yeah.
And Emma Thompson finally finds them somehow and decides to burn the place up.
With Cruella in it.
Yeah. I can't remember. Is this before or after
This
her
is
punk rock stage?
This is after the punk rock stage. So they catch Cruella,
Which actually was kind of cool, but it was a little.
Yeah.
It was a little random.
So
It was just a random. They had the ability to set up a whole stage, and music, and it all looked cool. It all like was in the style.
They do that stuff in like the Step Up movies.
Yeah, but at least there's like 20 people fighting for like $1,000 or whatever to put it together. There's just 3 of these people, these thieves. They might be millionaires. It's hard to tell.
Yeah, so
but
that
suspend
happened.
your disbelief. Okay.
She already set a robe on fire that just disappeared into cinders and didn't harm anything else. So whatever.
Emma Thompson catches her, tries to kill her by setting her on fire and blaming her friends. This is where she admits she just murders. Like, she does it all the time.
She's fine with murder. But then her henchman saves Cruella, takes her back to his apartment, and tells her backstory.
Dun, dun, dun.
So she is Emma Thompson, the Baroness's daughter.
Which I don't think time-wise actually makes much sense.
I think
fine, Emma Thompson had her late. Whatever.
She had a little late in life. Whatever. So the Baroness was with her husband, who was probably too nice for her. She was pregnant, did not want to be, and which is fine. I am fine with, whatever a woman chooses to do, but she wasn't thrilled about having the baby.
No.
She has the baby while her husband is out of town, and she just kind of tells him, like, oops, the baby died.
Yeah, eat that fetus.
Yeah, it was a baby by that point. She wanted to eat that baby.
She was going to Sparta kick that baby off the cliff.
Yeah, she was going to eat that baby
but
anyway.
Instead she got the bald. That was another thing.
The henchman, so that she just looks at the henchman, like, oh, get rid of it. So he gives the baby to, who, I don't remember her name, but Cruella's mother who raised her. She was a maid at the time, so she raised
and they
Cruella
paid her off for a little bit. They're like, get out of here, don't come back, don't bother us. But I guess they didn't give her that much, so
no, they didn't
she
care.
must have been desperate.
No. So I think her mother had stolen that necklace at some point, just kind of took me on and be like, this is your birthright.
Yeah, so that's why she came back. That's why her mother brought her back to the gala, because Emma Thompson's her mom, and she was going to be like, please pay for your child, you bitch.
No, and instead she killed the woman who raised her child for her. And what they don't do, I kind of wish they'd done that. Again, this might have been a little too tropey. Maybe her dad could have had the black and white hair. They don't explain the black and white hair.
No, they don't.
Ever.
But they don't really. Well, she killed him too, so we don't know about him.
Yeah.
Maybe he had skunk hair. Maybe he was Peter Lorre from that.
I forget the name of it, but it was amazing.
From that murder mystery. Anyway, sorry people. I don't remember what it was called. This is what happens when we
pause
an amazing
and we talk
movie,
about
by
movies.
the way.
Yeah, we'll hit you up on the next podcast.
If you look up Peter
movie.
Lorre skunk hair, whatever movie's connected to that, watch that. Maybe that was the Baron.
So let's wrap it up and talk about the end of the movie. So there's a big party, and this is where they're going to have a showdown. And so they're on the lookout for Cruella because she gets wind that she's still alive, and so they want to arrest her and catch her. Well, guess what? Everybody shows up at the party with a Cruella wig and a black and white dress.
This is why she needed those.
She needed the measurements
and
somehow was able.
This is after she broke her friends out of jail by just smashing a truck into the jail.
Oh yeah. So that happened.
And Wink was awesome and brought them a key or whatever.
Yeah, and so she had time to make these hundreds of costumes in a weekend. Okay, whatever. And so here's the big showdown. Cruella shows up at the party. She lures the Baroness outside and talks to her and confronts her. And she gets everybody to come outside and watch. So unknown to the Baroness, there are hundreds of people out on the courtyard watching the fireworks or whatever it is they told them to do. Come have a drink with the Baroness.
And they were all the quietest people you've ever seen.
The quietest crowd.
Anywhere. 100 people walking out on a veranda made out of stone, and they don't hear
not a word.
Any of them. And this is when flying, snap-kicking dogs come out again.
Yes. So she just straight up pushed Cruella over the cliff.
Yes, with her Dalmatians. And Cruella somehow has created a parachute, knows how to use it, and is either skilled naturally or trained herself enough to just float down to the water where they have stowed a boat. I thought it was going to be, like, as soon as they kicked her off, like, obviously she's not dead. I thought maybe she had, like, a net under there.
Yeah,
like
I
she
thought
had
so
set
too.
up something like that.
Nope, parachute.
She has a parachute inside of her.
And it works perfectly.
Inside of her tight-fitting dress. Or whatever.
It was a pantsuit.
Yeah, okay, it was that. So, okay, fine. So she's assumed dead. Everyone saw it. The cops come and claim her. And then she comes back with the info she got from bald butler / baby murderer.
Wait, let's clarify. So they arrest the Baroness.
Yes.
For murder.
They arrest the Baroness for killing Cruella. And so she's probably going to die in jail.
Actually, no, wait a minute. Didn't she dress as Estella? She was Estella. She made it look like Estella died.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, so Cruella is allowed to come back and forge everything. Social security number and all that. So using her original real, birth certificate, she can set up her new life, and she is now owner of the home, the dogs. Remember the dogs?
Oh, yeah.
Her locket and all that comes with it, all the money, all the businesses, and now she is fully Cruella.
Yeah, because the way it was set up was Estella basically faked her own death, and before that she had willed everything to Cruella.
Yeah.
Well, now that she had proof that Estella was the daughter of the Baroness, once the Baroness was taken to prison, all her assets went to dead Estella, therefore went to Cruella.
That I liked the way she got her.
That was cool.
And it makes sense since they're trying to, like, somewhat humanify her or whatever. They had to get somebody way worse.
Okay, wait, let's talk about the humanizing for a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, they had to get somebody worse, so let's talk about the very ending with the Dalmatians.
So, okay, before we say the very, very end, this is basically where we're done talking about what happened in the movie, and while we have been bitching, we can just flat out bitch about every point that comes off top of our heads or what we have written in our stupid notes. But just remember that, and now we can talk about the very ending, which is weird. It includes Anita, who, although she was in this movie, we haven't talked about at all. You know why? We forgot.
Because they gave her nothing to do. She was a journalist.
But she was her journalist.
Well, but
she helped Cruella with her story. No, she didn't.
No,
she really didn't.
But she could have. So Anita had been a journalist, and so Estella, Cruella, went to her and said, "Oh, I need you to kind of put a bug in the press, basically tell the paparazzi where I'm going to be." But
yeah,
the press is all over the place anyway.
I thought she was going to, like, be her outlet for things about the Baroness. Like, I'm going to ruin the Baroness.
Like, leak things to the press.
Yeah, and just destroy her.
They didn't use Anita at all. So okay, the Dalmatians at the end.
So at some point we noticed that one of the Baroness's Dalmatians is pregnant. And I think as soon as I saw that, I was like, no. Because I knew what they were going to do. And they totally did it. They build up to the end, and then they have this nice moment where they send, where Cruella, as a thank you gift to Roger, who she basically got fired.
Yeah, he was the Baroness's
We didn't
lawyer.
mention Roger either because
he didn't do anything.
Forgot about him.
Well, he didn't do anything.
No, he's her lawyer, and she randomly mentions he spends so much time playing his little piano. He is a pretty good lawyer, though. For some reason, he never gets any more lawyer work. He's just like, I'm going to write jingles, which is kind of weird, but it goes with the old movie. Fine. I don't think we needed the lawyer thing, but whatever. So he gets a puppy. Because he lost his job.
And what's that puppy's name?
Pongo.
It's Pongo.
And Anita gets Perty from Cruella. These puppies are Lannisters.
They have the same mother.
They are
and father.
Twins. They are twins. They are Lannister puppies.
Oh, they are. They're Jaime and Cersei.
Yes.
Ah!
It's...
Ew. Dog incest.
And I know that, like... That's kind of one of the reasons I think Dalmatians are stupid. Like,
because they're so inbred anyway.
yeah, I mean, there's probably some smart Dalmatians out there, no offense, but I've always heard they're dumb because people love purebred dogs, and purebred dogs end up getting just incest.
Super inbred.
Inbred. And, so yeah, 101 Dalmatians is about 15 inbred on inbred puppies.
Inbred, it's just like incestception.
So that's a terrible ending. So, okay. Now we can just bitch.
I mean, haven't we been doing that this whole time?
Now we can just
Yeah,
bitch.
okay, so was it a hate watch? No, but I've hate watched a couple of other live action Disney movies. We'll talk about those on later podcasts.
Because we actually had hopes for this one.
I had hopes for this one. I thought it's going to be amazing fashion, which the fashion was pretty good, but if you really want to see the best fashion, Cinderella, which is god-awful, we'll talk about that. That was a terrible movie, the live-action one, but Kate Blanchett's outfits were, girl, they were on point. They were on point. They were so good. They were so fantastic. I mean, it was a black and white aesthetic for this movie because it's Cruella, so
yeah,
you don't have as much to do with it. The fashion was great, but they missed the mark on a couple of things. And also, where's the dog murdering?
Yeah, there's no... So basically...
Not that I want puppies to die, but it's Cruella de Vil. I expect some skinned puppies.
Yeah, the thing that ruins the movie more than anything isn't the actual movie, it's that it doesn't make any sense as the setup to 101 Dalmatians, which doesn't work at all.
Or, how fucked up and dark is this that she sent Roger and Anita 2 little Dalmatian puppies
that she knew she would end up...
That she'll breed for... That's some dark shit.
If there's a sequel, she's gonna end up being, like, in the bushes and be the one that, like, set them up to meet as they were walking their dogs or something.
Oh, gross.
Like, Anita, you should go down this street when you walk your dog on Sundays. And she set it up just so Roger and her would meet, and then, obviously, it's the 60s, so they're... Or the 70s, I'm sorry, so they're gonna get married super quick. Yeah, that would be... Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't want that.
That's...
So...
Ooh.
Okay, now...
But it's Disney, so that wasn't her angle. So Cruella likes dogs. So if you go to doesthedogdie.com for this movie...
No, her dog never
dogs
dies.
No dead dogs.
I fully expected that little mongrel to get eaten alive by Dalmatians.
How many people are going to hate us because we talk about how we want to see some dead dogs?
I don't want... But I expected, like, okay, it's that saying about the gun on the wall.
The
like,
Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, you don't show the gun if you're not gonna fire it. So you showed me the dog that was her dog, and you showed me murdering Dalmatians. But she actually liked the Dalmatians by the end of it, and they didn't eat her dog. So why is she still going to end up being a murderer later? It doesn't make sense.
They did kill her mother, but I guess she forgave them. So, okay, it was not a hate watch. I had really high hopes for it. Not quite a guilty pleasure. No, because I really wanted, like, I love a delicious villain, like Ursula level delicious.
I mean, she did a good...
She was good.
She did good with the accent and the acting and the playing up of the character, but no. Now, like, little things that just... are really weird about the movie. Okay, I have a problem with, and I have to explain this, the race swapping in the movie is weird.
I'm gonna let you do that.
I don't care that they were race swapped. If anything, the person they should have race swapped was Cruella. And not because we need a black villain or anything, but she has the most interesting part. If you care to... So Disney... I hate saying it this way because it sounds like, oh, super conservative. I'm not. But they basically do the woke, like, we're gonna... So Anita is black. Jasper, as a child, seems to be Indian or Pakistani, something like that, which makes sense for the area, but even from child to adult, he is not the same...
Doesn't look like the same person.
No!
Tone's not the same.
He doesn't look like the same ethnicity. I don't believe the two actors were. So that's very strange, because the actor who plays Jasper as an adult, he looks like he could, like, play the Jasper from the original. because he's basically white. I don't know why the Indian child and then... Anyway, so the problem with Anita being black isn't that she's black, it's that they don't do anything with Anita at all.
Yeah.
They insult the character entirely.
Yeah.
If they changed her black and they had really good stuff with Anita, that'd be cool. That'd be fun.
Yeah, I mean, we need to see more diversity in movies, but don't just put in a person and say, look, we put in a black person, are you happy now? Like, no, give them something to do.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be like, well, make their history more black. It doesn't have to be anything like what you think a black child in England. They can, but they don't have to. She could have just had a good character. But she's not.
They gave her nothing to do.
No.
Yeah.
So that's just a strange thing. It felt like Disney fake woke, throwing up their like, we like
people of color in our
integration,
movies, but we're still gonna have white people as the main characters.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
I would have loved if that girl would have played Cruella. That would have been cool.
But no, that's not what happened. Okay, so
then some other. I don't want to take all the weird things. One more weird thing. I'll let Melanie think of whatever's in her notes.
Oh, I've already complained.
I guess this is okay because it's Disney, but I still thought it was unneeded. The anime trope, of having people like running into each other from their past. So, Estella went to school with Anita, and I was worried for a second because when they show Anita, they call her Anita, and I'm like, okay, so there's Anita. Are they gonna do anything? And immediately they took her out of the movie, basically. Yeah. So I was like, oh, well, that was stupid. So she knew her as a child. They did the race swap thing for no reason, but then she does come back later. But it didn't need to happen. She didn't even know her when she was a kid. She was a total bitch then anyway. They weren't friends. She probably hated Cruella just as much as anybody else. I don't know. It's just strange. I'm going to double check my notes. Because I just want to see if there's anything I missed. I don't want to miss anything.
No, I think I got everything. So back to, is it a hate watch or a guilty pleasure? Definitely not a hate watch. I think it's worth watching. I think I'm glad we didn't pay for the premiere access. Guilty pleasure, not really. It wasn't... I don't know if I could even watch it again.
I wouldn't watch it again. Yeah. I could see someone liking it if, like, it's not poorly made or anything. It's well made. If it was just that movie alone, and it didn't have like 101 Dalmatians to be the lead up, it would probably be fine.
Yeah, but we
know it's going to end up being 101 Dalmatians.
Yeah, so that's not a good lead-in. So let's just say she turns into... Would she be Glenn Close's character from the old live action? No, she would not be. And speaking of that, I think if you want to see fabulous costumes, man, watch that movie. 101 Dalmatians with Glenn Close. And we know, if you've seen Fatal Attraction, you know Glenn Close is A-okay with killing cute animals, or, at least the characters she plays are. So,
okay.
Yeah.
My last little nitpick.
Okay.
Well, two. One, I understand her not recognizing the Baroness whenever she was a child, because she never actually saw her face. She flat out saw the bald servant dude who ended up being the guy that took her away saving her, and she sees him multiple times, never catches up to that's him. And I know she was like a kid, but still, like, the most traumatic night of your life, wouldn't you remember that guy? Meh. Yeah. Anyway, okay, small thing. Last thing. The reason that Maleficent works, but not this, because they did the same idea with Maleficent. We're going to redo this classic, sort of, with like a backstory for the villain. The reason it was okay with Maleficent is you have the prequel to the movie, and then it goes into the story and it changes it. So you can see how, like, the version you heard isn't the real version. This is the real version. So that, and two, that's a fairy tale. That's a character that you can say there are multiple stories of, or whatever. This is just flat out Cruella's Joker film. This is this is Cruella's beginning, and not leading into the misunderstanding of 101 Dalmatians. You're just supposed to then go to 101 Dalmatians, which doesn't work.
No, it
just
doesn't.
Flat out messes it up. So, meh. But I guess that's pretty much everything.
Yeah. Okay.
So we're just leaving it in the it's a movie category.
It's fine. Yeah, if you want to watch it, it's fine. I thought it was pretty good. It had a lot of holes in it. But it was fine. So, but if you want, let's do our recommendation. This is something we'll do for every podcast, is we'll do a recommendation for something a little bit better. And so, speaking of Maleficent, that would be my recommendation if you want a live-action Disney movie that's actually good, and you want a good villain backstory that could work with the canon.
But you do have to go into it knowing that it's not the same story as Sleeping Beauty. Like,
yeah, just
because I liked Maleficent by the end. I was so mad in the middle because I was like, this doesn't make sense to leave. And then by the time I got to the end, I was like, okay, this was never a prequel. This was a retelling,
it was
reimagining.
Yes.
As I think Tim Burton called his version of Planet of the Apes. It's not a retelling. It's a reimagining.
Okay, so
fine.
Maleficent is my recommendation. What is yours?
Mine, and this is a weird direction. Melanie's thinking like origin story type stuff to counteract what this one is. I'm thinking of sort of something that feels like something you know from your childhood, reimagined like a fairy tale. Tons of black and white and red, but this one's going to be a little more campy. I'm picking Sleepy Hollow by Tim Burton, which is a very Hammer horror type film. It's a lot of fun. You can, not necessarily good, like it's not a traditionally good movie, but it's very enjoyable, and it has the aesthetic, like that dark, gloomy aesthetic, and it's a different version of an old story, you know. So that's the one I'm going with.
Okay, that's the one where Maleficent and Sleepy Hollow. So Sleepy Hollow has Christopher Walken in it, and you can't go wrong with Christopher Walken.
No.
Okay, so Cruella, we're not going to do ratings or anything, but if you want to watch it, yeah, watch it. It's fine. It'll be a decent use of your time. So join us next time on our other podcasts with movies we may end up loving or hating or just kind of feeling meh about, which I think we do with this one.
Yeah. I don't know where you're going to see this or hear this, but you can find us on Spotify,
iTunes, and hit us up on Instagram, Movie Painter Pleasure.
I'm going to be, hopefully I'm not eating my words, I'm going to be trying to set this up for YouTube. So if it's on YouTube, comment what other movies maybe you want to see. We have a list. Hopefully it's on there. And we can always keep adding. So, yeah, this is Movie Painter Pleasure.
Movie Painter Pleasure Podcast. Thanks for joining us. Bye.